are tuned into CrossTalk. My name is Kevin Tocci. I will be your host for this segment. What do we do on CrossTalk? Well, the idea of CrossTalk is to get you engaged with some of the things that are going on in and around the two communities that we serve. That's Whitman and Hanson. And the topics are wide-ranging, whether it's just to find out about events that are going on, maybe there's an issue in town, maybe it's to introduce you to new people, maybe projects that are going on in and around the two communities, and a lot more. I mean, it also serves other things that are going on the South Shore. Today, our conversation is more of a meet and greet. The political season is upon us. It gives us an opportunity to meet some of the folks who are campaigning for office. And a wide range of offices. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's on the local level, county level, but it could also be on the state level. Joining us today is a special guest. She currently serves as the vice chair of the Rockland Select Board. You go, oh, wait, Rockland Select Board, is she in the wrong town? Well, she would be if she wasn't running for state representative for the 5th Plymouth District, which I believe is a precinct or two in the town of Hanson. We have Mrs. Lori Childs, who is here. She is to join us and tell us a little bit about herself and her campaign for office. Lori, welcome to CrossTalk.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You got it.
Yeah.
Let's start off. Tell us, I kind of teased a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been a public servant basically my whole life. I've been involved in the Girl Scouts since I was very little. I come from Washington, D.C., and I have lived in Rockland for 20 years. Okay. I paid my way through college. I went to the University of Maryland, got my degree in American Studies, and then I started a business. I was a business owner for 11 years, and then when I moved to Rockland, I got into community projects. First, I was a Girl Scout leader for 8 years, and we rocked and rolled with that. It was incredibly fun. I still support the Girl Scouts, and then, as a mom, I was just kind of disturbed at how our taxes were going up, and the services we were getting didn't seem equal to the rate that our taxes were going up. So I got on the finance committee to learn about municipal finance. And then the opportunity came to run for the select board, which I ran for and won a seat on the select board. This is my second term. I'm now the vice chair. From being on the select board, it's still the same issue. Our taxes are going up, and we need better local services. So that's why I decided to run for the State House, because in our district, I believe that we could do a better job with that.
So talking about the love of being, representing the Scouts, the Girl Scouts. Yep. Favorite cookies or top 3 favorite Girl Scout cookies?
Well, we used to call them Samoas. I think they're called Caramel Delights now. Yes. They're amazing. Thin Mints.
Okay, and then where would those rank? Is it 3, 2, 1?
1 and 2. Okay. 1 and 2. And then 3, I don't know, probably the trefoils or the shortbread ones. Like to dunk them in tea.
Okay, very nice. So I think you kind of teased what motivated you to take the next step and run for state representative. How do you feel that your experience in local government is shaping the way that you view state level policy making?
It's incredible. I mean, local politics is where the rubber hits the road. It's where you're interacting with constituents all the time, helping people out all the time, and hearing about what their main concerns are. And for me, my top 3 things I want to get accomplished: I want to lower the cost of living, deliver responsible, accountable government, and create local opportunity. And I think with those 3 things, we can make people's lives better.
Now, what are you hearing? You've been out campaigning, you started campaigning.
Yeah. Early
on, what are you hearing from the voters in the 5th Plymouth District?
Cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. Right? Everything's going up. And now, I mean, just recently, gas prices are jumping. Yeah. So that's another layer to put on the hoagie, of things that are very costly to people right now. And it's people are hurting, including myself. It's really difficult, to make ends meet. So,
How do you feel that balance, and how can you balance the needs of Rockland with the broader concerns of the district itself?
oh my gosh, I mean, there's so many things and there's long-standing problems in every community that, and big things that I think I might have creative solutions to, like, I mean, the things we've gotten done in Rockland, I have a proven track record of being on teams that can get things done. I mean, we just capped our landfill there for $0. It's typically like a $5-6 million project, but we did it for $0 because we interviewed companies that take dirt from construction firms. The construction firms need the dirt transported somewhere. Very expensive for them. They typically put it on trains, and it goes into the middle of the country somewhere, I think. But keeping it local, there's a company that picks up the dirt, delivers it, and puts it on top and caps things like landfills. Once it's capped, they pay to have different things put on top of it. Pickleball courts, walking trails, dog parks,
Solar
things
fields.
like that. Maybe, but I the community is going to be involved in deciding what goes there. But things like that, it's just thinking of creative ways that don't increase, taxes for people. And Hanover is part of our district too. And finally, remediating the fireworks site is high on my agenda. Figure out a way to do that.
I think one of the big things that you would agree is that municipal leaders are often talking about the unfunded mandates
Yes.
that are put upon communities to have to financially support. What reforms would you push for on Beacon Hill that better support cities and towns when it comes to those unfunded mandates?
Try to avoid them at all costs because it really is unfair. Like the MBTA, the MBTA
Communities Act.
Exactly. A lot of people feel like that is, overreach, state overreach, and I believe it could have been planned a lot differently where, state reps and state senators could work in their communities to find out what their inventory is for housing, right? Before just demanding or that you have a developable spot or else, right? I don't believe in the or else. I believe in working with people, finding solutions, having a win-win all around for situations like that.
Interesting enough that, with the MBTA Communities Act, the idea of it is to be able to find housing, whether it's communities that are adjacent to the commuter rail system or the communities that are nearby.
Yeah.
So you're talking 177 communities. Do you feel that's fair that just those 177 communities have to comply and not the remaining, 180 communities that are not expected to have some kind of special zoning?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair, but it's required, and it's not required that towns build right now. It's just that they have to have it zoned. So,
is housing a big issue in not only in Rockland but also in the 5th Plymouth District and in the folks that you've talked with?
Yes, housing is a concern across the country, really, and what I'm finding in Hanson, Hanover, Rockland, and Norwell, which are the towns that I cover, is that seniors and vets are really afraid of being priced out of a town that they have, their families have grown up in for generations. And there has to be, solutions to that. One of the ideas that I had was to take abandoned properties or blight properties in town and turn them into a productive factory to make prefab housing, right? Prefab housing, they exist in Western Massachusetts and other places in the country, and they're shipped here, and that transportation cost is very, very expensive. So bring it local, right? One of the things the State House can do is okay the prevailing wage for unions to build these prefabs, right? Out of maybe shipping crates or shipping container homes. That's a really creative solution that's extremely affordable. If we do it locally, the transportation costs will be down. We can repurpose materials to keep the costs down. So, and the ADU laws, combined with the ADU law, I think that would be a good solution. And another thing, I don't mean to ramble on about this,
No.
but I'm pretty passionate about it. We could create veterans villages, right, out of these types of homes, where vets can hang out together, maybe have common areas like fire pits. And I've talked to some of the union guys about it, and they said for something like that, oftentimes they'll throw in like a common area for vets for no charge, for things like that. So talking about different ideas, creative solutions for housing is really important.
Okay. We are, as you mentioned earlier, we are living tough economic times.
Yep.
I don't know where Rockland stands right now in their process to get ready for your fiscal 27
Yes.
budget.
Yes.
What did the state provide your community? And put that in with how the state should rethink local aid. We're talking Chapter 70,
Yes.
which is for education,
Yep.
Chapter 90, especially as communities prepare for future budgets amid rising costs. How should it be rethought out?
Well, I mean, as far as Chapter 70 goes, that's a big one. That's for people that don't know, that's the school money, the school allotment that comes from the state. In Rockland, we have a 70-30 split, which is, before when it was, I think, a 50-50 split, the schools would always come asking for more money. And so we just made it 70-30, which worked up to a point, but now it's, they have surprise costs, transportation costs, things of that nature, that is honestly, troublesome. And the problem is these types of costs rise, but the formula for Chapter 70 stays the same, right? There's like a 4.5% cap on in the formula, and I think that cap needs to fluctuate because it's a fixed cost, but everything rises quicker than the aid that the state provides. So
what's interesting is that the state budget over the past couple of years has grown.
Yeah.
I want to say for fiscal 26, it might have grown $6 billion. Right now, I believe the House is discussing the current version, which has ballooned to yet another $6 billion. Where do you believe the state is spending effectively, and where do you think it needs to tighten up when it comes to spending?
Good question. Good question. I'd have to give it some thought.
Okay.
I would have to give it some thought, do a little more research, but I will get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about as far as when it comes to funding? What would you two do? And I use the term "bring home the bacon."
Yeah.
You're elected come November. You're sworn in. What are some of the things that you would try to do to make sure that you're bringing back resources to your community, whether it's to help the local council on aging, to help veterans, to help your municipalities?
Yep. Earmarks. So once you're in the State House, you network and make relationships and partner up with different senators and other reps to, sorry about that. The Plymouth just got $20 million from Mass Maritime, right, as an earmark. And I would love to do that in my district because one thing that we need is infrastructure on the South Shore, right? And that's probably one of the most important things. Infrastructure for creative development. We need water, sewer, things of that nature improved because the water system, sewer systems on the South Shore are really old, very old. So we need to definitely upgrade it. And like a new sewer plant in Rockland is going to be $100 million. I would love to get some of that from the state to to start fixing that.
Well, we know that when you talk water, I mean, water is crucial for development.
Yep.
And I know that one of your communities, Rockland, shares a water system with Abington.
Yes.
And it wasn't too long ago that there was a conversation about we need to spend money because there's issues with PFAS.
Yep.
The expense when it comes to purchasing these filters. Is there a viable solution when it comes to water? Is it a matter of just hooking up to MWRA? I know Brockton is trying to sell water where they have the desal plant down in Dighton.
Yep.
Is there a solution to help solve the water crisis when it comes to PFAS and there being enough of it?
Yes, there is. And with in Rockland's situation, Rockland and Abington, it's been a 6-year project that's at the very end point, but we got very low interest loans, FSA loans from the state to put the GAC filters, granulated activated carbon filters, which are like enormous Brita filters. We needed, I think, 4 of them in our main plant in Rockland. And finishing filters, or resin filters at the end, which are like, I think they're, a couple years ago, they were like $35,000 a piece, and you need to change them like 3 times a year. So that is expensive, but it's worth it because it brings PFAS down to 0, right?
Yep.
And then we don't have the added expense of, have you gotten a little postcard in your town saying that what the PFAS levels are in the water? Each one of those printings that we get 4 times a year is about $10,000. So we wouldn't have to do that anymore either.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm glad to say, and and I tell this to other people in the other towns outside of Rockland in my district, and they're like, "Oh my God, that you guys have been doing that? How come we didn't know about that? How come we didn't know this exists?" Right? So being more transparent about options to people is really one of the main things that a state rep can help with.
Let's talk a little bit about you teased an idea for housing, right? Recycling container, shipping containers, stuff like that. Let's talk about smart development. I think Rockland might have led the way when it came to some of the zoning for smart development. How do you do it to be able to create more housing but yet still preserve the community character, especially when it comes to your district?
In my opinion, repurposing buildings is the major way to do it. Like, for instance, the Holy Family School in back of Holy Family Church in Rockland closed. And what were we going to do with the building? So we're now building 27 low-income senior apartments there, which is great. And we're getting help from the state to do that, because that's their main priority, is to increase housing. And when you have a project where it increases housing, you get a lot of state aid for that. So, and we have Zone 40R districts, which are, the businesses on the bottom, and Rockland is going to be up to 3 levels
Village zoning?
of housing. What's that?
Is it village zoning? Is that it?
Is that what? I've never heard that term.
Okay.
So, but we're going to...
Smart growth.
So, yeah, it is smart growth. And, people in Rockland are like, oh my God, we don't want to look like Weymouth, that's a booming metropolis. There are ways of demanding a certain type of design that blends into the community really well. I was up in Burlington, Vermont a couple summers ago, and you couldn't even tell the old from the new. It was really well done.
Okay.
So.
Let's talk public safety.
Yeah.
Some of the folks that you're looking to reach out to, those who serve as police officers, firefighters, and who support them. Talk to me about the public safety needs of the district. Have you heard from any of those individuals, and what would you like to do to help support them? Yeah,
well, first of all, in Rockland, we got a new firehouse. We finally got that done.
Thank goodness.
It's no pun intended, but it's been on the back burner for 30 years. So, and it was about public outreach, public education, and for me, it was because firefighters have specific health concerns working in the buildings they work at, and the outdated fire stations don't meet current needs, right? We didn't have diesel dust way back in 74 or whatever. So, and that was an issue because diesel dust got all over where they lived, where they worked, and there's occupational cancer risks specifically for firefighters. So that's absolutely. And with the police department, one thing Rockland got that I would love to see everybody have is a mental health officer to go on calls, right? To try to de-escalate or help to de-escalate. And I think the state can totally provide grants for that.
Okay.
So
Let's talk a little bit about prioritizing working families and affordability.
Yeah.
What can a state representative do to help with that? Especially, I mean, rents are going through the roof.
Yep.
A mortgage is not cheap either.
Yep.
What can a state rep do to help when it comes?
The state rep can do tons. You know, I think that it's the state rep can act like Mickey Mouse is a sorcerer's apprentice and just bring all the factions together that need to sit at the table and talk, right? So I believe in rent stabilization, which is, you know, an agreement between landlords and renters for a specific time, maybe 5 years to 10 years, something like that, where there can be a renegotiation of the rent, where it's not, you know, rent control, but it's rent stabilization. I think that's really important. The ADU laws about, you know, where, and I think this is going to happen. I think there's going to be more generational living like it used to be many years ago out of necessity, right? It's like I have 4 kids. We have 4 kids, and 3 of them are moving back home right now until they find better situations. So we had, you know, what do you call it when all your kids move out of the house?
Empty nest.
Empty nesters. We had the luxury of being empty nesters.
It's nice for a bit.
For 6 months. For 6 months. So, and now that they've come back, I'm making them do the dishes. So,
Putting
anyway.
to work.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the importance of constituent services. How important is that, and how would it look for you to be able to serve those folks and take care of their needs?
Yeah, that's what I do. That's my main jam. And in talking to other state reps, it's 80% of what they do is constituent services. And you know, people call you with all sorts of things. You know, my yard is flooding, or I'm trying to get into this housing situation and it's not working. Can you help? You know, yeah. So and the more situations like that you help resolve, the more experience you get, and it becomes a lot more streamlined. So I'm really looking forward to helping more people with whatever they need.
How do you feel that your leadership style would differ from the current representation in the district or in the here on the South Shore?
On the South Shore?
Yeah, I'm just saying, how do you feel that your leadership would differ from any other state rep?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm into bringing all factions together to talk about stuff. And I'm not afraid to ask hard questions, and I'm not afraid to, you know, call things out when they need to be called out. Yeah. And say, hey, this needs to change, you know. So as a state rep, you are asked to serve on committees. Yep.
If you have your choice, if you are picked,
yes,
what would be some of the ideal committees that you'd like to serve on, if possible?
Yeah, well, with my experience with finance, I would like to be on Ways and Means. That would be great.
It's a biggie.
That is a biggie. It's a huge one. I would also like to be on cultural and arts committees because I believe that things like, you know, expanding the arts and cultural experience in a community can really improve people's lives. Let's see. I actually, if you don't mind, I made a list because...
Did you now?
You asked me that when we had our radio interview, and I researched it since then. So, yeah. So in the House, the Climate Action and Sustainability Committee, I would love to be on because that could tie in creative solutions to housing, right? The Federal Funding Policy and Accessibility committee would be amazing, because I would love to have my finger on the pulse of what is coming down the pipeline from the feds and grab it for our district if I can. And that's what I think I'm pretty good at.
You got a list. I like that.
I did. I made a list. The joint committees are really interesting too. Community development and small business, economic development and emerging technology. So that's really a good one, because with IT, catching fire right now, it would be good to use IT in a very positive way. Like right now, I'm talking to the superintendent of Rockland Schools to have a pilot program where the student government at our high school can research grants, right? So a lot of times at the town halls, they don't have time to research grants all day. But if students do it, and then you bring in like retirees who used to write grants for a living to partner with the kids to teach them that skill, and also a technology piece where an IT firm can come in and develop an AI app to vacuum up grants off the web, off of grants.gov, private foundation grants, things like that. That could bring in a lot more money to the district.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
We got less than 3 minutes left.
You're
At least
kidding?
that's what I'm feeling.
So quick.
I told
my
you,
God.
it would go fast.
Yeah.
My last two questions would be anything
Yeah.
that we haven't asked you, but you want to make sure that you talk to, and if folks want to find out more about you and your
Yes.
campaign, if
Yes.
you would go over at that camera when the time is right,
Okay.
and tell folks how they can do that. But first,
Yeah.
anything that we haven't asked you.
No, I think you covered everything pretty well.
You sure? Because I thought before
Yeah.
we started there was something that you wanted to touch upon.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, the audit.
Yes.
The audit. I get asked about my opinion on that
The state auditor.
the whole time.
the audit of
yeah,
the-
I mean, I
of the
voted for the
legislature.
audit. I voted for the audit. And for me as a voter,
Yeah.
it was, oh yeah, they ought to go through the budget and, nitpick anything that looks weird. I mean, I do that every week in Rockland. I look over the warrant and I'm like, sure, why is that even a question? And then I did a little bit deeper dive into it, and I have questions for Diana DiZoglio as to what are the other things she wants to find out besides the financial piece, right? There must be something. I have no idea, because she had talked before about non-disclosure agreements, and what does that have to do with the hill of beans, and that I think asking those questions, and I think the Attorney General is, because the SJC is going to be asking two questions of Diana DiZoglio. She's going to be asking, why do you want to have an audit? What are the exact reasons? And what is your theory as to why these can be asked legally? So I'm just kind of eating my popcorn watching this all unfold. But yeah, I absolutely believe in transparency and accountability for a local official.
Final 45 seconds.
Yes.
Tell these folks how
Yes.
they can reach out to you, get involved, to learn more about you.
Yes. Okay, go to my website. It's Lori, Lori, 4FOR, 5th, the number 5th.com, where you can volunteer, donate, find out about my platform issues, and I welcome you to do that. Have a coffee at your house. I'd love to come and chat with you and your friends about this kind of stuff. So thank you, Kevin, so much for having me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
Of course, we say best of luck to all the folks who are running for office. Again, it takes a lot to want to run for office. So we want to thank you for tuning into this episode of CrossTalk. And until our next conversation, have yourself a great day.